name is Carl Barrett. I'm the president of the HOA, and we're about to begin the board meeting. And it's now 7:38. 7:38. All board members are here, except one is on the phone, and that's Gary. That's on the phone. We have proof of notice. All the notice was posted on the front entrance, the clubhouse, and the back end. So, got that all taken care of. Now we're going to move into Hurricane Milton. Many of us go through a lot. Some of us leave the complex and went other places. But so far, I have to say, a lot of us didn't have much damage. So thank God for that. I don't know if anyone had any serious damage. But from driving around, the other places I see have some few damages on our common property. We saw some damages. And we're working to take care of those things as well. So that's where we at so far. So we're going to be, yes, there's a section of the back wall over there by the Corey Popper Road. We found that there's a water system that was backed up from the county or the city who owns that road. Their water came down and come over our property and dug a serious depression next to the wall. So we have our engineer coming out tomorrow to investigate that, take a look and see how serious that is.
Also contacted the city.
And we also contacted the city as well. Come out and take a look at it. But that's, we have a fence over here by Ingles. That's the blue one, some of the fence.
Oh, yeah, about vineyards.
Vineyards, yeah. So we have that taken down, going to be taken care of as well. We do have a few trees that we lost. 10 total.
A lot of them are in the conservation area.
Okay. So we like that one thing to do, walk back there until we actually that section. We did see some moccasin snakes, baby one, and plenty of water back there when we drove around. So be careful. First item on the agenda right now is our business. We want to approve the minutes from the last board meeting, and want to make a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion to
For
approve.
which there's 2 minutes. There's one for the 12th and one for the 20th.
Yes.
Which one did you ask?
We're going to approve the one for the 12th first.
I'll make the motion to approve as corrected.
The first one wasn't corrected. It
Oh.
was the second one.
Just a second. Motion good. Ken made the motion.
You made a motion? I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Second one is on 8/20/2024. Want to make a motion in that as well to approve that minute?
I make a motion that it be approved with the amendments that I submitted.
I've got an issue with one of those.
Bugs are coming in. You get a mosquito right there.
They don't bite, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
No,
No,
I think you
no,
have the white
no,
ones.
no,
And
no.
those dogs.
They're actually called minks.
said you're not Florida. Florida girl.
One of the changes that Warren put in was that the primary purpose of the meeting, him as vice president, and nowhere was that stated or said.
What I said to include was, I said the primary purpose and the first order of business at the August 20th meeting was to remove me from the vice president role, and yet that information was not included in any of the bullet points. What I asked to be included was to say that Gary motioned to remove Warren as vice president without cause, seconded by Greg. Warren opposed, motion carried 4-1. So what would be included would be that statement that I said to include.
The first one? The
What
whole
I
thing?
said,
The whole thing, or?
what was written that went to the entire board is this. You can look at it and see.
No, there was nothing that ever said the primary purpose, that was the primary purpose of the meeting.
That's not what I said to include.
Right, I disagree with it.
You disagree with what I said to include?
Yes. Oh, the include? Okay. No, that was, so this isn't included up here, Warren?
What does it say? Include this. That's
Okay.
what it says.
All right, I'm good.
It also says to correct this bullet that had this written. And the bullet that it says to correct says, in bullet 1I, the motion to limit only officers to communicate with management was seconded by Ken, not Gary.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with any of that.
Okay,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Alright, so done, 2 minutes. Second old business we have here is the art appointee.
Chip Elliott.
Chip Elliott, is he around? Is there a Chip Elliott here? Apparently not. Okay. Yeah, so anyway, I'm appointing him to the art committee. Do we need a motion on that?
I'll motion to, as submitted, as you just stated.
All in favor?
I have a question.
Sure.
Right.
As far as with this motion, my concern about the art committee is that there's some language in a document that talks about exemptions for art and fines committee members. And I'd like something addressing that says that if this person is brought on board, that language be taken out. And the language that I'm concerned about says, aside from the art and fines committee members must be in good standing with respect to the HOA assessments and may not be in violation of any of the governing documents or any board approved rules or regulations. I had submitted that since September 6th and I had not seen anything about it. So if we're going to add somebody new to the board, to the ARC, I think that language should be also addressed and taken out, because that basically says that people on the art and people on the fines committee don't have to comply with the regulations.
Doesn't say that.
Doesn't say that? It says aside from those people, committee members must be in good standings. So if it's aside from them, it means excluding them.
Exactly.
That's what the language says.
Mr. Lawyer, is that what it said?
I'm not.
Check it out.
I'm saying that that's
You
in
need
documents.
Aside from the art and fines.
Warren, so the document you're referring to is the rules and regulations that was created, right?
No, there was another document that was before that had that language in it.
Oh,
Okay?
This is a policy document.
It would make sense to approve it.
I don't know what document we're talking about.
Is that the bylaws?
You make a reference to a policy document, that's why I asked you if there was a provision governing documents.
There's a document that was submitted for revision to be approved at the 9/9 meeting. We never had a 9/9 meeting, but there was a document that was in
right,
place.
that's the rules and regulations,
Right.
So we're still working on that. It
No,
was
but
not
there's a
approved.
document that's already in place. This one was going to supersede that document.
Right, but after all the edits are made.
That was in the document that's originally still there.
That's there right now, yeah, that was what was
It's
approved a while back.
Right, so that's in the current document. I'm saying if you're gonna bring somebody new onto the board, you need to address that language, and that
I
language
think,
should
I think it's a reasonable request to eliminate the aside from the ARC. Is that what you're asking?
That's what I'm saying. And I'm saying that the language should say all
I think
people.
that's a reasonable.
Yeah, I don't see why they should be any different.
No, everyone should be treated the same.
Well, it has been in the document for some time.
Warren, we just haven't approved the rules and regulations yet.
No, the rules and regulations that have been submitted add more stuff in there. There is a document currently that says this.
Right, so my suggestion is, we can include this as a board vote, that language will be revised to reflect what you're saying, and then when we revise the rules and regulations,
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if we're voting to bring somebody onto the board now, onto the ARC now, that language should be eliminated now. It should not wait until it's revised, because if it isn't revised, that language will still stay in there. That's what I'm saying.
Put it on record now.
right, that's what I'm saying, we could put it on record now in the minutes that the
No
board
one is
is.
exempt from our covenants, restrictions, and our rules.
Correct.
No member, no committee member, no board member.
Correct.
Period, right.
That's correct.
So it shouldn't be in there, but it's in there. It's in the
I
current
have
document.
to look at the
I don't
context
even know
to
which
make
document
sure
it's talking about.
we're interpreting it correctly, see what's around it. But yeah, if I read that sentence there, he's absolutely right.
But I have no problem,
It's a very reasonable request.
I have no problem in principle saying that we'll get rid of that aside.
Right, so if maybe the board can vote on that right now.
Not a matter in principle. I'm saying it should be eliminated, period. I'm saying that we don't know when this document, the revised document, is gonna come true. I'm saying that,
Right now, let's get rid of it.
I'm saying that it should be eliminated now.
Right, so let's
Make a
have a
motion.
vote from the board.
Well, I'm saying that if we make a motion for the new person, then I'm gonna make that the motion include taking this language out.
Well, I think
So
that
it needs to be two.
I think that's easy.
That's easy. So we make a motion to,
You can accept his motion as part of the main motion.
Okay, I'll still second that. Yeah, remove the aside and have Chip be new part member. So that's, I second that.
And then remove the whole thing and put all, and it says what the language should be. The language should be that all members have to comply with it.
Yeah, well, you don't want this, this is just explanatory. You don't want that instead of this, right? You just want to take away the aside. Committee members must be in good standing.
All committee members should be in good
Right.
standing.
So you want to replace this aside from, and replace it with all.
No, I'm saying aside from the ARC and Finance Committee, I'm saying to replace, take that out completely.
Take that out and strike all.
I said all committee members must be in good standing. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
fine.
everybody's saying the same thing.
Everybody wasn't saying the same thing. But
No, I think they are now.
okay.
okay, so make a motion.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we got five of us. All five of us. Second. All right. And I'm also going to mention that as an ARC member, I resigned. So Chip will replace me.
What is his qualifications?
Huh?
What is his qualifications?
He has a lot. We interviewed 4 candidates and he was the unanimous pick of the.
He's also an architect. So, I think he's a good fit.
What about, ARC members?
Excuse me?
And Rodney Stossel.
You'll be on the ARC and on the board also at the same time?
Yes, we can, but right now, just to keep it nice, we just, I'm moving myself off.
Okay.
So to make it.
Yeah, because I was wondering if I gotta do something, what happens then?
So if
The
you
board
need
has
to,
to make a motion.
He's resigned, you can resign.
all right, so the next item we're going to move into is some legal reviews. These are some items that keep coming up over and over, and we just need to, put these things to sleep. So I'm gonna turn this over to the attorney to, oh, wait a minute.
I'll be mine first.
Let's
You
do
gotta
it.
pull it up. Version 4. You know the projector was it?
I'm sorry? I can't, too many people talking again. The association, the association acting through the board of directors.
Okay.
That's how corporate law works, yeah. Any corporation can only operate through its board of directors.
So you will also act in our, if we were saying. We can't hear you.
I have to act in accordance with the instructions I received from the board and be faithful to the law and faithful to the governing document.
But you, so basically what you're saying, you work for the both of us.
Well,
He does. Because
In
we
a-
pay the board.
in a-
Right?
well, in a very general sense, you're right.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
I know. So you should not be able to defend or represent them because that would be a lifetime, I'm not understanding,
No.
conflict of interest.
No, that's not a conflict.
he's not defending us because he's
Sir,
defending the board.
sir,
Please
I'm not-
explain to me.
I'm not gonna argue with you, though.
You're not arguing, I'm
We're
asking
just having
questions.
questions.
Well, we haven't gotten to the question.
Well, go ahead and say what you gotta say. You asked me what I had to say.
I did,
Yeah, okay,
because
that's-
you were saying something I was.
Now you
asking.
don't want to hear what I have to say. So you can continue.
Okay, are we done?
Because you know he's not supposed to say.
Okay, so, Carl asked me to talk to this alleged trespass incident that's received so much attention. So, go ahead, next slide.
There's some music playing, was that?
Excuse me. Hey, Gary, can you put your thing on mute? We're hearing some music.
Excuse me.
Question.
Hold your question, please.
Hold the question?
Please,
All right,
please.
Slides, go ahead.
Please.
Put on, screen.
Can I see that language really quick? I want to add it to the minutes. I know you sent it a while back, and I for the ERC, the committee.
Okay, so, this is what happened. Carl and Greg went on September 7th, the morning of September 7th.
Again.
Again, we're gonna ask to be quiet, please. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we spent the morning inspecting around the common areas and a few other places where issues, problems. Mostly it was focused on the landscaping. We were asked by Leland to visit 2638 Nuclear Yard to investigate an owner complaint about drainage. So we, at some point, we went there and contacted that owner and discussed the situation. And both owners, came and showed us what they were talking about. And we found something that was disturbing, which was BoD fence panels. So let me show you that. Go ahead. Okay, so this is some evidence that they showed us of the drainage that was coming through this fence. This is drainage. They have lived here since the subdivision was built. And they never had any of this problem until about 6 months prior to this, which is when the next door neighbor did a project in the backyard. And this kind of drainage started happening. So we saw that, and then we saw this. We saw these BoD fence panels, which look very, very odd and unsightly. And so I'm going to show, this is a movie I'm going to show. So notice, if you look closely, you see a lot of water that's leading through the grass. And notice that there's nothing coming out of the downspout. That's all water that's coming down from the fence and going through this person's property.
A common area? No, in his yard.
Private property.
Private property.
Private property.
They were asked to go. They were invited. So you can see the water, the amount of water that's coming through. And you can see when he walks, you can't really hear it because it's not loud enough, but he's sloshing through water as he's walking through the grass.
5 feet
But there's
on
water
each.
off that downspout.
What's that?
So there was water off that downspout.
That was the one from the neighbor. 2626.
I got the same thing at my house.
May I ask a
So do
question?
I.
Yeah, what's your question?
Were you guys, asked by the homeowner, or did you ask permission from the homeowners whose property you took pictures of? Or did you only speak to the next door neighbors?
Next door neighbors.
So is
So
it,
you
The other owner was
still,
not home.
so you still proceeded to go on their property?
Stand by, I'll talk about it in just a second.
Okay,
On each
Just
property
wanted to make sure
line,
it's
there's a
clear.
5-foot drainage.
So what did I do next? I was in a problem solving mode. So I said, well, let me see if I can see what's causing what's going on with this fence. So I reached over and took this picture. And this is the
So you
picture.
are trespassing on.
Can you just
Stand by, please.
Please.
I mean, we all have questions, and I feel like you should have
Do
your
we
time.
get your turn?
Okay, I'm not yelling at you, so please keep the same respect that I'm having for you towards me.
But you're disrupting.
I just said, excuse me.
Okay? All right. Just hold your peace until he's finished.
Okay, as long as you keep the same
Thank you.
respect.
Okay, so that's the picture you saw me taking right there. I'd like to point out there are no windows on that side of that house.
is that little girl outside?
No.
How'd you know?
You see any in that picture?
How'd you know?
How did you know before?
You should have looked. Right? You keep your head over my face and you see exactly what's going on.
All right, so the question is, can the HOA enter property without permission? Okay. The answer is yes,
Answer
but,
is no, unless
No,
there's a
yeah.
prior violation.
yes, but,
But
there are 3 different sections, this is one of them, in the DCCR's layout that can be done. They all have lead times, 10 days in one case, 21 days in another case, 30 days in this case, okay? Obviously, we didn't follow that. I didn't follow that. Okay, so,
Both of you didn't follow that. It wasn't just
So
one of
why
you.
are you still on the
Why
board?
are you still on the board?
If you
Because
just
if you
admitted
resign.
Tell him again.
I was,
Can we please have please let's get through this and not everybody talk at the same time.
That's the answer.
Please.
Right? The meeting's over. We just said our trespass. He needs to be off the board. Move on and we go home.
I was,
That's the whole reason why we're all here. We're not here
Well,
for
let's
anything
try to
else.
hear the whole story before we
We're not here.
react.
As soon as you tell us you're
That's the story.
trespassing,
That's the
who
story. I
else's property are
trespassed
you
on
gonna
your
go on?
He
And I
made,
can do it
okay,
to you.
he
That's what
made,
he just
listen,
said.
he made a mistake, okay? He
Oh,
shouldn't
no.
have.
I'm a grown man. He didn't make no mistake.
all right, look.
A mistake
We're
is
gonna keep this
happening.
up, we're gonna stop this meeting. We're gonna keep it up, we're gonna stop
Go
the
ahead,
meeting.
be accountable.
Stop the meeting. That's what you want. That's what you want. You don't want to answer what you did.
I'm trying to explain it.
Don't explain anything.
You're wrong. They said you're wrong. You're mistaken.
So why did I do that? I was focused in a problem solving mode, I was trying to figure out what was going on with the neighbors.
You're wrong. What
The
you just
As a
said.
lawyer, do you have anything about what you did?
The neighbors have as much right to have their
But you don't walk
property
on their
free
property.
of flooding
You
as
send
anybody
them a
else.
letter.
or you get a
Okay.
warrant to do that.
Or you get a warrant.
So the issue of trespassing in that mode was never on my mind. And although
Should have been.
You didn't tell
All
them.
memo against
So what I'm saying is it's not on your mind.
that was not right. Therefore, stepping on the property to take pictures was a mistake, and I apologize.
We
So
don't
get
accept
out
your
and accept your apology.
Get off the board.
He's
You
not allowed you to
don't represent
resign.
the whole. You don't represent us.
Who's the homeowner?
I do just have one thing to say. We spent so much time trying to go after Tom for like the HOA paying money out, and these mistakes are costing us money. So it just doesn't make sense to have that as an argument when you're saying you made a mistake, but these mistakes are they can be costly mistakes. Yes.
And it's illegal.
Violation.
And we're paying for the lawyer, and we're paying for a police officer to be here because
Yeah.
you're a mistake.
No,
Just
no, it was
resign.
my mistake.
Oh,
Yeah, you just said you made a mistake. You just said it was your issue. That's the reason why we're all here.
Was he trespassed by police officer. No, he was not trespassed by a police officer. So I have to say, if you enter my property
If you
without the
have my
right
kids in my backyard and you looking over my fence, I'm calling the cops on you.
and you
Right.
so let me
Okay,
stop.
so
I
then
don't.
just because he didn't get the cops called on him doesn't make it any different.
Yeah,
He was
I
spared
lost
that
the
day.
light.
He was
You could've
spared
lost
that
the
day.
light. That would have been a mistake that he made. You could have lost
You
the
can sit
light.
there and roll your eyes, but the next time somebody else comes
Don't
over.
worry about your hurt. Don't worry about it.
Let's finish this shit. Continue to threaten somebody. Go ahead.
You want me to jump in? Okay. All right, hey guys, I was asked to be here because I knew there were a number of legal issues that you guys have questions about, and I'm here to answer your questions. I would just ask that you not all jump in at the same time because it's very confusing. You can't hear people that are listening to the live stream, can't hear. So just please, I'll stay as long as it's necessary to exhaust everyone's questions.
Can you speak up, please?
Yeah. Are you?
Use the mic.
Can you try that?
Sure. All right. Can you hear me better now?
A little bit.
Okay. I'll try and enunciate. Well, here the optics certainly aren't good. I think everyone acknowledges that. But I've heard a lot of talk about trespass without defining what that is. According to the Florida Supreme Court, trespass is defined as a quote, an injury to or use of property by another one who has no authority to do so. So there has to be an injury to or use of the property. In this particular case, you saw from the photographs, there was neither injury nor was there use of that property. Excuse me? He was simply trying to identify the conditions. Simply trying to identify.
Use. He took a photo.
He's
He
not-
read right there what it says, so you can read whatever you want. He read the bylaws that he brought into this neighborhood for. And by the way, you're also representing him on a personal tip, so that's a conflict of interest.
I'm not representing him on a personal.
So let's look at your website. Can you bring up what he said about?
He's talking about the.
Bulletproof? Okay.
There are some
That's a
comments that were
conflict
made
of
on my.
interest, sir. That's a conflict of interest, and you need to be honorable enough, like Carl, to remove yourself. The people are saying they don't want you here. If I wasn't wanted, I wouldn't want to stay.
Well, not 800 people here.
You off the board. I would, well, it's pretty apparent that.
You can't even take 800 people in this room.
It's pretty apparent what the sentiment is of at least the loudest sector of the.
Let me ask a question. Did he
Go ahead.
violate the law at all? No laws?
I don't know that you violated any
No
law.
keeping calm laws or any other laws like that?
Let's
He
keep
can come on anybody's
it,
He can come on anybody's property and look over anybody's fence anytime.
You gotta consider all of the facts.
Where is my family's guaranteed safety that nobody's coming over my fence? You were lucky, there's 3 women in that house. You were very lucky they went home. And they were actually out of the country, because she tried to contact them and they did not answer. Well, where's our safety? Because I don't feel very safe.
That's a legitimate concern. That's a legitimate concern, ma'am. He's apologized. Okay? I know you guys are not satisfied with an apology. I'm here to discuss the law.
An apology is changed behavior. If there's a pattern of this, then that's not an apology.
Mr. Ogle, I want to engage, since you had a question, go ahead.
If he is an ARC or board member, go on somebody's property looking for a violation.
No, he can't go on looking for a violation on someone else's property. In this case,
And that's
you
what
had.
he just said he did.
No.
That's what he just said
He
he
just
did.
said it. He just said it. He wanted to be a problem solver.
You're from New York, like I'm from New York. I hear bullshit, but I hear. I'm from New York. He just said that's exactly what he did. Now, don't bullshit.
I'm not trying to bullshit you, man. Okay?
Come on now.
No. I'm trying to explain to you that he saw a problem with the other property being flooded. That property was
Because a
being
neighbor told
damaged.
me he had a problem. Because a neighbor told me he had a problem.
He observed it himself. He saw the
Why was he
fencing.
on the property?
He
without-
saw the fencing
Did
that
you
was
write a
mowed
letter?
out. It was
Did you write a
pronounced
letter like
mowed
you're
out.
supposed to do? Did you write a letter? That's what you guys did to me when I was taking my daughter to school, and I got a $300 ticket that you ended up having to pay me for. Thank you to him. You guys did that same thing to me. You know why? because you didn't even call the front gate to see that I had already called about that U-Haul, and yet you still made my daughter late. That's why I'm here. It's the old Don Deal who's still on this board on the next door app. You guys need to get off of him. Get him off the app too.
Why is he on there as leader?
And he doesn't live here anymore.
That's another issue.
Okay. So, Tom,
Jim,
Property.
the HOA has nothing to do with next door.
It's called a drainage easement,
correct.
5 feet on each side. If water is flowing down the middle of that property on that 10-foot span, that's what it's for.
If it's flowing in the direction of the easement, yes.
Yeah.
Because the easement has an intention. And that wasn't the intention to cause that water to flow onto the adjoining.
How do you know that?
So
Because that's the way utility and drainage easements are set up.
Did the homeowner have any ARC requests denied or permits denied? I think you comply with everything.
No. This was an investigation based upon evidence that had been confirmed by Mr. Keith. But there was clearly flooding.
From the sidewalk, but you can't walk onto somebody's property and start looking over the
But it looks
fence.
like you're blaming one neighbor over the other.
I'm not blaming any.
Hey, where is that homeowner? Why can't he be here speaking for himself? Yeah, that's true.
He's a first responder.
Okay, why can't he be here speaking for himself?
He's a first responder.
I heard what she said.
Anyway, ma'am.
No, they have a problem.
And I appreciate what you're saying, ma'am, but I would respectfully disagree. I don't think it's clear that I was a use of the property.
You speaking to me?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going by what he said, attorney. He said, I made a mistake. He
Yeah.
said, I didn't follow the law. He needs to be off the board, respectfully.
He didn't say he
Because,
didn't.
yes, he did.
He said he didn't follow the strictures of the governing
So
document.
why is he representing us if he's not following the rules? These rules just keep getting broken. Why? And it was him who actually confirmed that they weren't gonna get all the money that I lost because they were negligent in filing the front. They know that. They know that. And then and then the disrespect of not even having to read the letter and Warren had to read it to you. That's a disrespect for people that are paying their bills on time and early, who has an 850 credit score. Do the research. That's wrong. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have gotten my money. If it wasn't for Warren, I wouldn't have gotten my money. And you were the one that said pay her half. That was wrong. Making my daughter late for school, her first way away from college.
So is Greg willing to get off the board?
I'm not resigning.
So how do we
Oh,
Warren
no.
now it's your time to go get on. But you took him out of his position, so how can we take you out of your position without calling a meeting?
Sir, you had your hand up for a long time. Yes, sir.
This instance happened before. It's not the first time where people taking pictures illegally on people's property. My house got taken pictures of my back pool, basically. I had a lawsuit. I'm still in a lawsuit basically with the owners. The bottom line was when we were seeing the water and the swells supposed to be going in certain directions, I came to this board and I told them I had a problem in my yard being flooded out. And they told me, well, that's a personal problem. You're gonna have to do, sue yourself, this or that. So the bottom line was, after I did that, the board came to my house, my backyard, which is my pool. My pool was dirty because all the debris, rain, mud from people's backyards was in my pool. The board broke me up and said I had to fix my pool because it was a nuisance. They came to my backyard and took a picture of my pool. It's on record, it's in the files. It's like, you guys determine when and what you want to do. If you don't see it from the front street or the sidewalk, you're not supposed to be in our backyards.
Or common property.
Or common property, but you're in my backyard. Take a picture. I didn't say you. The other president was here, whatever his name was. John took a picture of my backyard and my pool. And they're gonna write me and say, hey, I gotta fix this in 30 days. Bottom line was, it's because I was suing, I got penalized. You guys pick and choose. And I'm not saying all of y'all, but I'm saying this board picks and choose what they want to do and what they get away with. We're association. We're all supposed to be together and fight together.
Yes.
I came to this board and the numerous problems that I had, and
got laughed at, basically. Oh, it's not our problem, it's not our issue. It is your issue. Utility, they're talking about that 5 foot, the board is supposed to be taking care of that. Our community is supposed to be taking care of that buffer right there, utility buffer. The board is responsible for any drainage or anything that's going on in there. But you guys want to wash your hands of it. You want to make it that? I'll see you in court then. The bottom line is this. The people in this community are upset. Okay? I wasn't there the night when you put yourself on board when your buddy voted you on. There was a gentleman sitting here wanting to be on the board. And y'all ignored him. There was 2 other people. Y'all ignored everybody that wanted to be on the board and put you on the board. And that's not right. That's not right. That is not economically fair to all of us.
He's speaking.
What are you talking about?
Don't sit on the
You
What's the issue?
Don stepped right over there and voted you back on the
To
board.
have you be put on the board that night. You remember?
There were other people that wanted to be
I
on
was
the
here
board.
that night. You demanded that. Instead of having the community vote who they want on the board.
Nope, don't go there.
They didn't want to go in the annual meeting because if they did, then Warren would still be on the board.
He is on
Still
the
be in
board.
his vice president's spot. You know what we're talking about. But I guess you forget everything else, just like you forget how that night went too.
Resign. Don't keep looking
We
at
want you off the board.
The lawyer's not working for you right now. Just resign. We're tired of you.
Yes, ma'am.
I was on a phone call on me and they came out of nowhere. I wasn't sure what was going on with the whole vice president. Like you, I was a bit confused. I know every week, well, I haven't missed much meetings, but the last one I came to, he had some valid questions and points about some of the concern about the policy, make sure that whatever that's going on. But I guess every meeting it was like some weird feeling that there was like, oh, because he questions, it seems like some tension. So in a phone call, meeting.
without cause.
He wasn't a team player. He wasn't a team player to the original board, bottom line.
I mean, is it a brotherhood or an HOA?
It's supposed to be a community.
It's a good old boy.
Because if
There
we
you
all
go.
supposed to unite,
It's supposed to be a
like,
community.
work for one goal,
Everybody pays
what's
HOA.
going on? Like,
Everybody.
I mean, you guys are all sitting up there smiling and shaking your head. You should be ashamed to serve as an officer like that.
it's just.
Next
really
week, all that
just
stuff
think
that you
you're
promised
doing,
you
you should.
said you were gonna do.
But everything that you want us to do, you should
No, because you didn't do what you said you were going to do.
Carl, why don't you step up and say,
We
"Oh,
want
yeah,
to
people,
have
that's
you in here.
We all got it for you.
Do what's right.
You swore you were gonna serve our community. You were gonna do what's best
We
for
got
everybody
behind
that lives
you.
here.
Now
But
you
you
here.
got nothing but buddying up with everybody else.
You sat right there at the church and you promised us the world. If you got it.
And now you need to do the right thing and get him off the board.
You know what I'm
It's not right.
There needs to be.
Cause a conflict with the community. We all pay. Everybody who's not here or whatever, we all pay. This is unfair. It's unfair you being here. If anybody that comes, it's always you. It's you. There's no compromising with the situation. From having a Christmas thing out here, you want to be Mr. Grinch. I mean, this is for the kids. It was for the kids. Don't shake your head because you know what I'm talking about.
Parade? What are you talking about?
You know what I'm talking about. Who've been to the board meeting know what you've been doing. Every little thing, you have no compromise in you. Well, let me meet you halfway. Or what can we see, can we look into? You're the only one that's always, no, like you got your thumb up, you know what? Come on, man.
You're doing for you and not for the
No.
community, and you need to recognize that.
Your trees in your front yard. Hold on. Your trees in your front yard look like shit. Here's what it is. You got a French drain that you put in your front yard that you did not get approved by the board. You remember that? I was at that meeting when you brought it up.
Bags of mulch sitting in your yard.
Come on, man. Stop
That was
that.
Rodney's.
It's time for a change. He should have never been on the board. He should have never been on the board. I'm looking you eye to eye. I'm looking you eye to eye, man. You're not fair with the people in this community.
There's nothing that we gotta make it out of.
But I think at the end of the day, it's gonna be
how you guys did Warren is asinine.
It is.
How you guys did Warren, I'm gonna say it.
It was a lynching.
How you did when Warren was asinine? That makes no sense because we have an election.
I mean, it's voted on the floor. Nobody has it. Nobody has it.
Yes, ma'am. Would you like the microphone?
I just have a comment, just an observation,
Yeah.
just a comment. Excuse me. So I moved into the neighborhood in April, with my husband. This is the first meeting that I've attended. And just a few observations. There just seems to be an absolute disdain for the people that are paying the homeowners. First of all, I'm not sure how to sell Warren, so it sounds like something terrible's happened. And now you're up here at least. But the disdain from you to Warren is just telling. I mean, he's got valid points, and you're just poo-pooing everything he says.
You make it more half of the other board members, which nobody have no problem with.
Hang on, let's finish speaking.
And it's just about having respect. There seems to be no respect. And if we can't get together and be respectful, how do we have a community that can thrive? I'm in business, we're going through this, we're listening, and people are stifled and not allowed to ask questions as we go. And then we got to the last slide and it was like, well, I apologize and that's done, so let's move on. No, there's real concerns about that. Now, you can hear that I'm English, so I'll just say this. My understanding is you better be careful if you step on somebody's property in Florida, right? In the United States in general, so pretty risky behavior from you, sir, to even attempt to do that. So I don't know if that's brave or stupidity, but the long and short of it is it's evident that people don't want you here for whatever reason, but we've got to get to where we can get some solutions, because I will say, as somebody new, you better not come on my property like that. That's just the bottom line. And now, I see there was a law there that if you give a notice, and if I disrespect that and don't do that, then you can obviously take that to the next level. But something's gone wrong here. So I just want to say, super disappointing first meeting. It's embarrassing. It's really embarrassing. There's no leadership here, and that's a shame. So that's my comment. I don't even know where you would go from here. This is pretty shocking.
Yes, sir.
The lady in the back row has had her hand up for a long time.
The back row?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Okay, well, I needed to get that. First off, I'm really grateful to be here. I'm one of your neighbors. I live right on the trail on Corey Terrace. So I have a Becky German shopper who likes to run. I don't know everybody's name, but I know everybody's really mad. And I know it takes a lot of humility to do the right thing sometimes. I don't know why you don't want to resign. I know that's what you said. I think maybe we should contemplate it a little bit, because sometimes we have to do what's better for the community and not for ourselves, and about humility, about what we should do. Because we are community, and I'm grateful. Like, I love my neighbors. I actually have a point I'm going to make about parking that I just recently learned from a neighbor who was one of the first houses built. Told me all really interesting information. Anyway, also, you had commented about, and your name is Warren. So Warren, I'm just trying to understand, you were removed as the vice president because you didn't have an alignment with the way the board was. I want to tell you guys, I know you don't know, I have 8 children. My husband and I fostered 20 kids. We adopted 5. We're about to be married 39 years on Sunday. Thank you. I have all of my children, but 3 still live with us, and I lost my oldest, and we saw Westyn. Ron was next door at my daughter's one who got a tongue cancer. So I'm one grown up. That was diversity. who are drug addicts, brain injuries, have mental illness. My one daughter is paranoid schizophrenic, bipolar with ADHD. If you add any more to her little circle, I have a son who has autism who doesn't like to read. We deal with a lot. And it takes humility, and it takes leadership, and I will say it takes being Christian. But to take you out of a position because you don't align, that's a mistake because you want to have varying opinions. That's how we get a common good amongst each other. We're all not going to agree. And we can't put 1,000 things on a poll. I know parking was tried to be addressed before. We're not Congress. We don't have to stuff the bills with 1,000 other things. We can just have one issue and vote on it and hear the people. That's what this is about. But one more thing I just want to say, and I know you guys are upset, and I really want you to humbly, prayerfully think about it. We love each other, and we're here as a community. So we have to remember to continue to love each other, no matter what. And I know we all want what's best. Nobody's here tonight out of anything but genuine love for the neighborhood. We live in a great place. We didn't flood. We didn't lose electricity. We didn't lose internet. We are less than imagined. So let's move forward from this point. Let's try to finish addressing this. That's what I'm
Yeah, he had his hand first, and I'll come back to you. Thank you. Yes, sir.
I think it's pretty evident that the majority of the room feels one way, that they would like, a member to be removed from the board. And I know that member doesn't think that he doesn't want to be. Easiest thing to do is to have the board vote on whether or not they just want the person removed. Somebody can make a motion, or somebody can second it.
Let me explain that. The board, hold on a second. The board can vote to remove him from office from his vice president position. The board cannot vote to remove a director from the director position.
He wasn't ever elected.
But he was voted on.
Doesn't matter. Once you're on the board, you can only be removed by the membership.
Just asking, so you're saying that they have to be removed by the membership.
Right.
And a certain percentage of the community.
That's correct. The majority of the community. As a matter of fact, I saw something about a recall effort. So if the majority of the community feels that way, the majority of the community will prevail.
I get where everybody is. I really do.
The other option.
I'm just trying to cut to the chase and figure out how we can move forward here. If the board can't, make a motion and have somebody second it, and the community members don't have 51%, and the member isn't willing to remove himself for whatever reason, let's stop arguing about it and continue on getting whatever we need to get done for the night. That's all I'm looking to do.
Make a motion to remove him as vice president.
Yes.
Second.
Third. Fourth. The whole neighborhood.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I make one comment?
And reinstate Warren.
I just want to make one comment. We had an annual meeting, and the appointments went in order of the votes at the annual meeting. If you look, let me finish. Can I finish? We went by the votes that were submitted at the annual meeting of who the board members are.
I have a question. I'm holding my hand up, but nobody's watching, so can I ask my question? May I?
You had your hand up first.
There's other people in front of you.
There's a gentleman in
I'm
the back.
holding you go. Oh, okay, go ahead. So, if this trespass thing was a one-time thing, I think any of us could let it go. This is not the first time that Greg and the fact that it was John Bill entered someone's property. In fact, an investor partner I had bought a house. Greg and Dawn, she was alone in the house with a 2-year-old child. She was pregnant. Greg and Dawn opened the front door, came into the house, demanded to
You remember that one?
No.
You don't remember that?
Hold on. When she called the cops instead, and they showed up, she had her deed, she had the papers, she had the owners on the phone. This is who we signed the house over, this is what's going on, this is what they're doing for us. Greg was there and Don Hill was there. They then said in front of an HOA PD officer, we do have a copy of the police report, I should punch you in the face. Oh, that woman was 9 months pregnant with twins. Wow. Don't say it didn't happen because that woman was me. My 5-year-old daughter still to this day, when she sees him, goes like this. So don't tell me it's the first time. That is why I asked, is it safe as a woman to do that? Second of all, my son rode an ATV. This was 6 months ago. Don Dylan Greg called the police on my son, took the keys out of the ignition and told the children, do not call your parents. My son luckily, don't nod your head because I got the police report for that one too. So the narcissistic gaslighting does not work on me. I'm telling you what I saw, what I witnessed, and what I felt. You cannot invalidate my feelings. Thank you. Thank you. Whether you agree or not, I'm telling you what your intention was and what your perception was quite different. As a minority woman, I felt victimized, and my children were terrified.
Another lawsuit.
Now let me explain. The cops were then again called right here. The cops told my child, he expected a white cop, it was not a red cop. He said, I'm so proud of you boys. Go home, I'm gonna come to your house and talk to you. And he said, in life, this is what you will experience. You need to always stay calm, stay rational, stay educated. Because that's what affects people.
When is
Like
this gonna
us,
stop?
speak educated. That's when they get scared.
When is this gonna stop?
When my children were told not to call me, that is almost kidnapping. You were kidnapping my children. So I understand if there's an issue, there needs to be a letter. There's a professional way to handle things. Here's a letter. You can't have me writing your ATV. Please don't. Not calling the cops on kids who are not doing anything. They're not doing drugs. They're not smoking weed. They're not drinking. They're playing ball.
Now, can I say something?
So I just want to say, as a woman in the community, this is not the first time something like this happened. And the reason I'm here is because I know that fear, and it's not fair. And if this many people are here saying that we do not feel safe, you should do the right thing.
The recollection I have of that incident.
Sir, the back.
Yes, my name is Brian Smith. I'm at 2951 Cardassian on the corner. I just want to point out, my friend from England, yes. Better not step on anybody else's land. Here's the actual statute. I want to read the Florida statute.
Please and thank you.
Section 810.12.1. Unauthorized entry by any person into or upon any enclosed and posted land, that means property, and the exact language on that is shall be prima facie evidence of the intention of such person to commit an act of trespass. So in this case, our president wrote the law. I commend him for his apology. Vice President.
And President.
I am president. Both were us. So I commend you for your apology. I commend you for admitting it. But the fact is, you wrote the law.
I would respectfully disagree, and I think here the definition you read from, 2 points there. One, it speaks of prima facie. Prima facie means you carried your burden of proof to the initial degree, but you still have to demonstrate an intent, a malevolent intent. Number one. Number two, and more importantly, in my view, I think the definition you read spoke of an enclosed or protected area, did it not? Posted. Yeah. Posted or enclosed area? Is that?
Privacy fence.
On the property, he was on the property. We're not allowed to have signs.
Trespassing sign.
The bylaws.
Yeah.
You can't have signs.
Can't have signs.
It is an enclosed area.
Right. I mean, based upon, again, I wasn't there, but based on the photographs that I've seen, He was not inside.
Supreme Court case which you are referring.
Sure, I'd be happy to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the legislation have not said.
Let him say that.
I'm happy to.
It has to be relevant and similar to the facts in this case.
Well,
So
they're very
just to make sure you are not acting in the program unethical manner, please, for the record, say the name of the case.
Sure.
And the case,
More than happy to.
please.
Okay. Case is Halifax Drainage District of Volusia County v. Gleaton. It's at 137 Florida 397, Florida Supreme Court. Decision made April 25, 1939. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. There's very few cases dealing with the issue of trespass.
You should let them know right from the beginning. This has to do with your own credibility as counsel.
Man, this is a Florida Supreme Court case. It controls all lower court cases.
Unless there have been other Supreme Court cases that have.
There haven't. I'm telling you. You asked me whether I shepherdized it, and I said I did. It hasn't been overturned.
Or there
Please,
have been
please,
other cases that.
please
Again,
check
I
me
will
out.
check it, I will check
Thank you.
facts to see whether
Thank
or not
you.
they apply to
That's all I ask. Just check it. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to know how we're not able to remove him or vote on him being removed from his position, but they were able to do that for Warren without any of us present or without anybody knowing. So I don't
The
know.
board, the reason I'm going to answer that question is the board decision. So the board is a
It
board.
would be nice that I can finish my list. That's fine.
Guys, it's going to be hard getting through the entire meeting. All right, thank you. I was answering this young lady and I'm telling her it was a board decision. Those decisions to remove someone from an office are purely board decisions. They're not membership decisions.
Who has the right to make that on the board, to make those decisions?
The majority of the board.
Okay, so if that's the majority of the board sitting right here, and all three of them can vote against him, can't we remove him from his position?
The three of them
same
can.
way that we removed
The three of them can.
So, Carl, as president, and I'm asking you because I know you're a parent as well, because I know you have two kids because I went to school with them.
And we
As a
love each other.
president of this community, and you're laughing, and that's crazy that you're laughing because that's so disrespectful that you represent this whole community and you laugh about it. But as the president of this of this community, you should have it in your heart to do the right thing to protect the rest of this community. Because I don't know about you, but I'm the same age as your daughter. But I don't know if somebody came on my property and I have a 5-year-old and they took pictures over my fence and my 5-year-old was in the backyard in her underwear, all hell would break loose. So put it in perspective of your daughter when she was a little girl and let him come in your backyard and take pictures of your backyard while your daughter's running around. Would you feel safe? Would you feel safe? Would you feel safe? I'm asking you a question. Would you feel safe? No, I just want a yes or no. Would you feel safe?
All boys.
It is. Would you feel safe? Thank you.
Carl, do us right. All boys.
I'll be asking that you to make it right.
Behind you, sir, there's a woman who's got her hand up.
That's
Yeah,
it.
behind you.
Do what needs to be done so we all can go home.
I'll get to you. Yes,
You
ma'am.
know what needs to be done. We just keep.
I remember voting for COD, and I'm just wondering, when about
Well, let's look at it. Guys, you can do that. You have the right to do that. It's called an annual election, and the other process is through a recall
We
election.
don't want to do the annual election. We want to know why right now, these 3 members sitting up here right now can't make the same decision they made when they made it for Warren. Why can't you make that same decision that you made to remove Warren off of his position now for somebody that's trespassing on people's property, that's rude and disrespectful, and has a problem? And you're going to punch people in the face? You can kick me out because you know I'm telling the truth. So you can go ahead and ask me to get out of the meeting. I'll leave, but I'm telling you the truth, and I'm not dealing with it. But there's an officer here. If she wants me to leave, she can ask me to leave. I'm not leaving from this community just because I'm speaking what I have to say.
That's your way out. You're drowning everybody else.
I don't care. It's what everybody wants to be done. You're embarrassing. You don't want this all to
You're not gonna have to worry about it.
Don't worry, there's more of you
You
here.
got to call, you was on the military. If you was in the Air Force, you would
I
have fought.
thought I answered that question earlier, man. I thought I said that
You know
the
it.
board could do that if it wished, but the majority of the board could.
So Carl, what are you waiting for?
Carl, take the mic, Carl.
Take the mic.
You had us a vote to do.
You made us all go to you. You told us all that we were gonna do right by it. You were gonna do right by us. You get to do so. Matter of fact, you was there. You were accomplished. You were right there when it happened too.
Yes, sir. Yeah, yes, President. He was removed from the vice president position.
Why?
I don't know. So he was done without cause. Can be done with it under the documents. You can do it with or without cause.
Without cause.
Right.
We got no money.
So why can't we remove him without cause? Because we have cause.
No cause? It has to be, it has to be a reason you know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, my name is Oliver Jones. I live at 255 Westyn Bay Boulevard. My other concern is that this board has been basically together since 2010, since I've been here. The same people, some of the same people who've done this board, mainly my man right here, who's been on this board for quite some time. You've been on for a couple of years, but you've still been in control. You've still been in control of the board. My thing is, there's no checks and balance with the board and with our attorney. Bottom line is, I've come to this board many meetings before about, a lien was put on my property legally. And I've been told, that there's nothing I can do about it. I've been to the presidents before, not you, to the other board presidents. I even went to you, and you basically accused me of insulting your intelligence. The bottom line was, I had a lien put on my property 2018. I got a notice April 2nd, but I had to pay that bill within 45 days. I tried to pay it April 2nd, 3rd, 4th, couldn't get a hold of the attorney to find out what the actual bill was. The bottom line was, I had to go to the board to get to the attorney. The attorney finally notified me that I owed this amount of money, to send it to his P.O. box. And wherever his P.O. box is at. I went there, I did a certified letter with my certified check and paid it within the 20 days. It was due in 45 days. Called the attorney or email the attorney because you can't call him. Am I good? Everything's straight. You're straight. Well, it wasn't until 3 years later I applied for a mortgage. I had a lien on my property. What? A lien on my property. So I went to the board and asked what's going on. They didn't know anything about it. I went to legal management. They went to the records and said, you shouldn't have had a lien on your property. I then again went to the attorney, emailed and back and forth with the president. He accused me that they did nothing wrong. Bottom line was, I went to the comptroller to find out when this lien was put on. The lien was put on a year and a half after the notice of April 2nd of 2018. I went back to him and said, you put this lien on my property a year and a half later. He said, no, comptroller made a mistake. I said, no, comptroller, I talked to the supervisor and everybody else there. When they get a document, they stamp date it, whether it's an email, an e-file, or someone hand delivers whatever, they stamp it, it's done in 3 days. I went back to them, oh, you're calling me a liar, from your attorney. I asked the board, can you investigate this? I didn't want to do anything. I had to pay $395, $75 to get that off the lien taken off. Came across 5 months later of all my documents that I moved stuff around and couldn't find it. I have the certified letter that was signed, they picked up his mail, it was paid in full. There should have never been a lien on my property because it was paid in full. So you're saying a mistake was made by the comptroller? No. It never should have got to the comptroller because it was paid in full. That paperwork should have never left your office a year and a half later and made it downtown. But it did, and y'all laughed at me. You made accusations, I'm calling you a thief and cheater, this and that. You made a mistake, and I have all the proof. But you know what? I went to the board, and our president laughed at me. He didn't have time for me. We're a community. I pay fees just like he does. He's supposed to look after our community. Our lawyer's supposed to take care of us. But you didn't work for me that day. You worked for the board getting their money. You got paid for doing that lien, You got paid for all that out of my fees. I paid for you to put it on my property. Illegally. Illegally.
All day long.
I have all the proof right here.
Let me have your first legislation.
I will show you. I'll show that. And I want to be reimbursed.
I'll be happy to look at it.
I got a question for you. You said reimbursed.
Yes, sir.
What's the cost for you being here?
I charge $300 an hour.
Oh,
Because I'm here now, we gotta pay for that, right? So the board gotta pay for that.
No, we do.
The whole?
That's why I was asking everybody to kind of remain orderly so we get everyone's questions.
So all because I'm here, it's gonna cost us more money.
Well, that's your characterization. I'm not going to quarrel
Well, that's
with
the only reason
it.
I've been here.
Yes, sir.
First time I see you.
Question for each board member. Ken, would you be willing to make a motion to remove Keithler as vice president?
What if not?
I still don't think everyone understands.
He said,
Can I say something? I still don't think you understand the whole facts of the situation.
It's not only one time.
It was the lady that owned the property next to them had a problem. She had, let me finish. She had water in her, and they were trying to correct the lady's problem.
that doesn't make it right. Even though he was trying to help somebody, that doesn't make it right what he did wrong.
Well,
Bottom line,
he admitted he made
I
a
just
mistake.
said
But how many mistakes are you gonna make before we're gonna actually take somebody and hold them accountable for what mistakes that they're making?
The lady's backyard had water in it, was almost to the point of
But
going over her
there's
porch.
a certain way to go and handle those matters. There's protocols, there's documents, paperwork, everything put in place to handle those the correct way. Unfortunately, he chose not to handle them the correct way. And that little mistake could have been a major mistake. And it's obviously, compared to everybody else's comments and their concerns, not the first mistake that he's made.
And this wasn't the biggest mistake.
It just seems like we're gonna
The thing that
constantly make
concerns
mistakes
me,
and just
all right,
say, oh, you apologize, let's slap you on the wrist and let's move you up to the next position.
I understand that you're here now, and I understand your problems, okay? But
we be having a different conversation.
can I please finish? I've been to so many board meetings, and we've had.
We asked about what's going on right now. I don't want to hear no story about this, that. Let's talk about
Address that girl.
No one wants bread on the board because it's a constant issue that's going on.
I'm just telling you.
Tell what's going on. Don't talk about you on the board. You're part of the board. So of course you're gonna be talking about it.
How much is
Remember you was about to get kicked off the board as well? And she sat there and called up, "Why you taking me off the board?"
Hey, I'm gonna listen to my wife. My wife told me enough of this crap. Okay? I can be gone in a heartbeat. You want me off? Good night. Sorry?
Can you make the motion and put some pressure on Carl there, please?
Sorry. No, we have 4 members. Gary's on the phone.
You make that motion to get this over with. And that's enough. Hey.
I'd like to make a motion to remove Greg Keithler as the vice president.
make a motion to remove Greg from the board.
No. Remove Greg as vice president on the board. Difference.
To remove Greg as vice president from the board.
Correct.
You heard that? Gonna make a motion?
Second.
No, he's part of the board. Can you hear us? Okay.
So I answer the question.
Warren just, Warren just made the motion to remove Greg as vice president. They want to know if you want to second that.
Oh, you're.
Okay?
All right, Carl. Natalie, what can you do? You're the management company.
So at this point, it's 1-to-1.
So it's 1-to-1
at this point.
Hold on, Warren.
What happens in this situation where it's 1-to-1?
Okay. If did Ken just resign?
He resigned.
Yes.
Yes, he did. He resigned.
He said he was resigning.
He resigned. Yes, he
He said he
resigned.
resigned.
She put it out. He did.
Guys, listen, if he resigns, I'm gonna put in the minutes, but is there a question as to whether he resigned or not, or just left the meeting?
No, well, my question is, if he resigned, because if he resigned, based on the process that was done before, the next highest vote getter would be Tom Ogle. So then Tom Ogle could come into the position.
I am doing my job. You guys asked me to do my job. Okay? All right, it's not for me. I'm doing my job. You have respect. You've been screaming at everybody. Don't scream at me. All right.
Warren is talking, please.
So Ken just resigned.
I thought I heard him say that he resigned. He said that he was going to do what his wife said to do, and he was going to resign. That's what I heard. If that's the case, the next highest vote getter was Tom Ogle. Then I make a motion that Tom Ogle. Sure.
Yes.
Put it on speaker.
It was on camera. You got 70 people in here saying
Okay, so everybody,
He said he resigned. Put it back on the tape.
So, but he's saying he's not resigning. Jim, how do you handle that?
Oh, he's indicated he's not resigning. Unless they're.
The meeting's not adjourned yet.
We need to look at the tape. We need to look at the tape.
It's on the video. Watch the video. Play the video.
We need to look at the tape.
Look at the tape.
He said he resigned. That's what he said. I heard him say that.
Nah, you keep on recording. Question for the attorney. Hello? If the board member declared he was resigned and it's recorded, did he resign?
It is.
I'll have to look at the bylaw. I'll have to look at your bylaws to see how they treat resignations. Yeah, I've got it right here. I'll look at it right now. I don't have more homework.
You just said I got it right here. So $300 an hour, folks.
Okay, I got, guys, section 8.4. Okay. Section 8.4 that deals with resignation. Such an officer can resign at any time by giving written notice to the board, president, and the secretary. Such resignation shall take effect on the date of receipt of such notice at such later time specified therein. The acceptance of the resignation not necessary to make it effective.
That's the offer.
So that's dealing with resignation of an officer, okay? Now I'm going back and seeing if there's a specific provision dealing with resignation of a board member. Because it may or may not be the same.
Doesn't matter, it takes a routine.
The only other provision, hey guys, the only other provision is in paragraph 4.2. Speaks of board directors removal. Any director may be removed from the board without cause by a majority vote of each class of members. That's what I said earlier. In the event of resignation of a director, his successor shall be selected by the remaining members of the board and shall serve. So it doesn't speak to the manner in which that resignation needs to be communicated, whether it has to be in writing or not. It doesn't say. Those are the bylaws. Bylaws typically control.
So how would you take that?
I think we need to.
It's ambiguous.
How would you take
I'm
that?
just thinking, if I was to call
It's
my boss,
ambiguous.
I was quitting and walked out of a meeting.
Exactly.
I would
I'd be fired.
So like, again, even if he didn't resign and he wanted to storm out and pout and not deal with
And look into the camera to say you resign.
Carl, you guys are held accountable. It's
This
just not.
hasn't really been.
Why are you smiling at me? I'm not smiling at you.
Well, I'm sorry you're not smiling at me, but I'm smiling at you because this hasn't really been a friendly environment for the
It's
board.
been like, oh, but the thing is, it's like you have to understand the community why they're so upset.
I
right?
understand that you're
No, but I
upset.
don't think you understand it. I'm not saying I'm upset. I'm saying the community, we are all upset,
I
right?
understand
And-
that the majority of the people here are very upset. Yes. I do understand that.
But you can't sit there and say, this has been a wild meeting. No, we canceled the last meeting of 2 hours before. People have been waiting and we're getting no responses from anyone. And you come to a meeting, we're all taking time from our own families at home. We've had the hurricane, my kid has school tomorrow, I'm not there, I'm going out of the country Thursday, and I'm here spending time with you guys for a member to just get up and walk out. We could go home too.
And he said, I'm gonna listen to my wife,
And I
and I'm
quit.
gonna resign.
Resign.
He said, he's gone, he folded up his papers, and he walked out.
So why
Watch
not?
the video. I think we should watch the video. Monday Night Football.
And I'm sure if we look at the videotape,
Go back on it.
Well, we can always watch it. Videotape's not going anywhere, so the videotape will preserve that evidence.
So when are we're gonna have to reschedule this because we need him to write that he's resigning. And then we gotta move on, because we can't keep sitting here and you on mic and we're not getting nothing accomplished. So we're gonna have to redo this.
And then next thing you know, they'll be putting somebody else on the board that we didn't know.
Exactly.
David Greg with us.
I think you guys should give him 15 minutes.
I don't even know why,
to
Greg. I don't know why, Greg. Why are you so pressed about this position? Like, come on.
I didn't take it that way.
Because he can break all the rules he wants.
he didn't take it that way because he doesn't want Tom to be on the board, and it was fine.
It's like it brings him life.
You guys want to hear about any of the other legal items on the agenda? We're gonna kind of beat this one to a halt. We're gonna try and ascertain whether or not he resigned or not. And I'm gonna see if there's anything in the corporate, not-for-profit act that speaks to whether resignation is to be right or that's the area right. Is this better? Oh, yeah. So anyway, there were some questions about the holiday overnight parking exception. You had your hand up on that one?
I do. So this is what I wanted to tell you guys about. My neighbor, who lives right next door to me, was one of the first houses built. And she informed me about the parking. Do you know why we have from 2 to 5 a.m. no parking? It was because the street cleaners would come. They had the little spinny thing to clean the little curb. They didn't want the cars out. Makes sense. We haven't had street cleaners in a long time. I find it unjust that the board has decided, because that's why it was a rule. We don't have that anymore. We now have $100 fines, we have stickers that don't get removed, and we have cars being towed. Let me tell you what happened. My daughter died at 12:55 in the morning from tongue cancer. We had hospice at our house. The funeral home came at 4 a.m. to remove my daughter. With her husband, my granddaughter, who was 4 years old. Do you think for 1 minute I thought about my hospice nurse's car that was on the street? No. Had you towed her car, could you imagine how horrible that would have been? That's not right. Number 2, my daughter-in-law suffered a very serious injury. I'm an old ICU nurse. Came to my house to stitch her up in the middle of the night. She was hysterical. They don't have insurance, so they have me. I was suturing her up in the middle of the night for a very bad arm wound. Comes out, big green sticker slapped on it. That's not right. This has to stop. I understand that there was a reason for it. That reason no longer exists. I think what we should do is put out a vote to allow unrestricted parking of working cars on the street. We don't want to have cars on blocks that don't run.
Oh, man, if I can say this, I don't want to, I'm sad to hear about your daughter, because that's horrible. they need to be responsible. But when you have neighbors like I have that have 6 cars and they park bus style that I can't get in and out, I don't have any feelings for that. And then that was the only thing that stopped them, that they had to be offered. I even offered my yard. I said, you guys can pull in my yard. You can pull inside my yard, because I'm not there most of the time. Oh, they didn't want to do that. They park bus style. Now, I'm from New York. I can get around a monkey's ass. But my mother, she's 80 years old. She can't move that. And so what happened? You end up having an accident. So you see, so there has
Are
to be
you
some-
out and about between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m.? What
It
does
doesn't,
that
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I don't want.
I see what you're saying. There should be some exceptions. Like, my mother, I understand that you have doctors and stuff. So there should be some exceptions. But my neighbors, there's no exception. They'll just park their bus style.
Yes, so you're-
There should be exceptions.
Ma'am, to your point, the documents have a prohibition on overnight parking, so the board can enact. There's a prohibition on overnight, there's a prohibition on overnight parking, it's been in the documents from day one, okay? I don't know whether it has anything to do with the street standards or not, because there's no reference to the rationale for that particular restriction. I can tell you that in many communities, similar provisions do apply, whether they have street cleaners coming through or not. And the thought there is that it makes it easier for police are coming through or what have you to identify suspect vehicles if they're parked on the streets. Okay? That's the rationale that's been posited to me. Right? We can quarrel whether or not that's a good enough rationale or not, but that's the rationale that we follow. But hold on a second. The bottom line, though, is the declaration, just like any governing document, can be amended. It's a harsh requirement. It requires 75% of all of the members to adopt the amendment that you're seeking to implement. But it can be done.
I understand that, but do we have to have that the punitive be what the board decided? Who gets to rule on green stickers, towing of cars, $100 a day? That's a little bit.
Yeah, that's
ridiculous.
well, and you may have some very fair points there, but those are to be addressed to the board, because those are board decisions.
We did with the board.
I mean, you guys have wanted to address a lot of different things tonight. In fairness to the board, I mean, and in fairness to me, quite honestly, you know, I'm here to address very specific issues that were identified to me in advance that I prepared for to speak on. So, but I'm happy to answer as many questions as you have.
So what is the next steps? Because everybody is wild up right now. So what are we gonna do? Are we gonna address this the next meeting? Are we gonna have some we have a lot of people in this development that are very much eligible to be sitting over there.
The board,
They're doing us right.
yeah, and the board can always take up a motion at the next board meeting, similar to the one that a number of you have advocated. That's always a possibility. There's no deadline for staleness to those motions. They can be raised each and every meeting. When is your annual meeting?
I think,
May, I think. So
May.
we got about another, 6 months or so?
And we need to invest in a mic and a speaker.
No, we need to find out when they can look at that video to get this guy off. We can get off that one.
No, we ain't gonna get over that. Because we gonna get back to that.
Okay, so you guys, the next agenda item that we kind of just touched on a little bit
We haven't
is
spoken to
the
this
parking.
one yet.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead. You want to address this one still?
2 years ago, the board of directors tried to change the parking restrictions by giving themselves authority to grant that permission. When they did that, I said that's wrong. They don't need any more authority than they already have. What they should have done instead was come up with a set of parking restrictions that the community agreed upon. They did not. They came up with something for their own selfish needs. I can tell you that board members, including Don Dill and Greg Keithler, want to have that authority so they can grant themselves permission to park their RVs on the street overnight.
No, that's not exactly. I was on the board. I've been on the board for over 10 years, and I know exactly what was going on with the parking. And what we used to do, the governing documents say you cannot park on the street overnight. Now, what we were going to try to do was to check 2 times a night to see if somebody actually parked overnight.
Sir, who are you?
I'm Bill Crawford,
Okay.
and I used to be on the board, okay? I've served as secretary, and I've served as vice president. Now, what they determined was we'll say the guard that drives around, okay? For lack of a better name, the person that drives around would go around 1 time at night. We figured the best we could do would be if they went right through, we were doing 2 to 4, something like that. If a car was sitting there overnight on the street during that time frame, you could assume it was overnight. I'd work nights. I'd get home before 4 o'clock in the morning, and I got tagged one time, and I had just parked the dumb car. So I wasn't parked overnight. I was working. So that kind of thing happens. Now, what we were doing was we were suspending that parking restriction at Thanksgiving and at Christmas through New Year's. Remember that? We did.
You had no authority to do that.
We were doing that, and a gentleman right there said, "Oh, no, I'm going to sue you if you don't abide by that regulation completely." And so, fine, right now, none of you can park on the street during Thanksgiving, Christmas, holidays, anything like that. Don't blame them.
No.
Blame him.
Blame the articles.
And he said,
You're slandering me, sir. Blame the articles because the lawyer can tell you, you cannot violate the articles as a director or a board or grant yourselves authority to grant any exception.
and if that's the case, then anybody here who owns a pickup truck, you can't park that in your driveway. You've got to try to find a way to get it.
Not true.
That's right. Yeah. Overnight.
Come on, you guys know the president park every race is motorhomes at the street every night with cones. Every race. Every race. His car, he never got towed, never got a sticker on it.
You got cited
Oh, he got cited? How many times?
every time you did it.
Bullshit. Come on. How come he never got towed? Because he was there every race. His car was there. I mean, motorhome was there every. The president, the ex-president.
Talking about Don.
I sent him many violations.
You got away with it though?
You know, once the RV is gone, it's not a violation. They sent, right.
Attorney, what is the bill that you're sending the HOA for us to pay for his mistakes? What is the bill up to now that it has cost us? Right, so from the beginning of his mistake until today, what is the bill we're gonna receive from you to represent him?
I'm not here to clear his name. I don't know why you've gotten that impression. I was just here to speak to what the law
But
says.
we're paying you because he made a mistake, so my question is,
No.
what are you charging us?
The board asked me to be here to address, I think it was 5 different subjects of a legal nature that apparently have been divisive subjects to the community, and I'm prepared to speak out.
Which of those 5 did you prepare for?
All of them.
The alleged?
I have a meeting today.
We couldn't find that lost out at the treasury just to find.
Well, you didn't reside.
For years, Don Dill and Greg Keithler and now you have blamed me for the parking when it's the documents that
Everybody,
And you blame me for costing the association thousands of dollars, when in fact, it was you guys that cost the association thousands of dollars.
Here it is, there goes our money.
I have all the receipts from his billing for all the complaints I made against the association, and even went so far as after I couldn't get anywhere with the association, the law says my only recourse is to go to court. And before that, you have to go to mediation. That's my right as a homeowner, and then you disparage me because I had to go that route. In public, and in front of all the community members. You and Don Dill.
oh yes.
We're gonna get you back on it.
Tom, I think.
If you ever want to park your car on the street, don't put him on.
Don't talk about
We won't talk to you.
No harm, no foul, everybody was happy because you had your holiday yesterday.
That's the least of our worries.
But you had rules.
Like, we
You
can
guys
aside
broke
from that,
the
we don't
rules.
really care that much about
I
it.
mean, because of the attorney, that's your own fiduciary responsibility for the company.
We don't care about that. We
Can't
gotta stay
just rank
focused on
yourself.
bigger problems. That's it.
Well, you got.
Okay, everybody, okay, so that is one of the things that we're trying to address tonight, is the parking exceptions for the overnight parking. In certain situations, like holidays, Christmas,
That's
Thanksgiving,
how we want it.
if somebody is doing some work to their house, they need a dumpster in their driveway, they can't park. That's what we're working on doing. I put that on the agenda so the attorney could explain the legality of it, that it is okay for the board to use their discretion and
No,
make
he did not
exceptions.
say that.
That's not
I am saying that.
That's not true.
That's what
It
this is.
is true.
Section 11.3 is our restrictions.
Right.
If you're telling me they can change that, then they can change any restriction in Article 11.
11.15.
11.3.
No, I'm referring to 11.15, which gives them the power to make modifications.
I'm trying to do it for everybody.
To Article 11?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 11.15 says, additional rules and regulations concerning the use of property may be made and amended from time to time by the association.
Rules and regulations, not restrictions that are in the covenants.
The rules and regulations can amplify the restrictions in the covenants.
But Tom, isn't it okay if they do the exceptions? Won't it be nice to be able to park on the street during the
I
holidays?
agree, but all of us need to vote for that. 75%.
How about everybody in this room right now? Let's do it.
Why
Who
can't
is
we
in
just-
favor?
why can't we vote him up?
And Mr. Ogle, the other thing though is too, you need to understand that with restrictions like overnight parking in particular,
I think what the neighborhood is saying is that a lot of these things are resolved, we start with over review, right? And then from there we can build, right? And then the community comes back, we work together to have one great community, that's what we do. But I think, Greg, I know you don't want me to step down, right? If I was somewhere and didn't want me, I would not be there. You know, and I understand it's a volunteer position, but like, you're not wanted.
Not by this group.
No,
Not
there's
by
no.
Again, sometimes people just don't mesh well, and I think maybe you're just the one that doesn't mesh well with everybody else, and that's okay. It's not a bad thing.
There's 51% that don't want me, I'll be gone.
We don't want you. You know that you've gotten 3 people to meetings, and all these people are coming here to express how they do not want you here, and that should speak volumes. It should.
And you're saying.
You're older than me. You have a lot of years on me.
You're saying
You
you're
know, it's just-
apologizing for that one instance, but I brought 2 and you.
I don't have memory of the.
I know. I got police report.
Well, how is it about stipulated if you say you don't have money? Say, I was called on that incident. Yeah, police report.
Got police report. You should have made a copy and passed it out to everybody.
I don't remember. Sorry.
Call, this
know what community room is supposed to.
I just
You
want
all
to
have nice
read, I want to read
conversations.
section
Listen up, hey, listen up.
That's one of them, yeah, that's one of them. That's one of them, yeah.
11:15.
Yeah.
Additional rules and regulations concerning the appearance and the use
Use.
of property may be made and amended from time to time by the declarant or the association as successor to the declarant in a manner provided by the articles and bylaws. Copies of the regulation and amendments thereto shall be furnished by the association to the owner upon request. It doesn't say anything about the board being able to modify Article 11, which is the restrictions.
That's where you find that particular provision in Article 11.
Pardon?
That's where you find that provision in Article 11. 11.15 speaks to making rules and regulations that amplify,
The rules and
amend, or
regulations,
modify.
the rules and regulations cannot override.
They can amplify them in a situation where
You can't say that you're amplifying something by breaking a parking restriction.
you've got an overnight parking restriction, okay? Look at paragraph.
I got
Hold
a
a second.
simple solution.
Hold on a second, please. Can I finish? Look at section 12.3. The association shall have a specific power to enter into agreements with others respecting the use of common areas.
That's other entities. That's outside.
Not other entities, with others. It doesn't say other entities, it's others. 12.1 speaks to the
Others means non-members.
No, it doesn't say that. You're interpreting, you're reading that, but that's not what it said. Others is others. Others is a very broad term.
Others is who?
Yeah.
Who is others?
Others.
Who?
Any others.
Any others? There's only members.
No, they're members, they're non-members, they're tenants, they're guests, they're invitees. They're it doesn't speak to, it's not limited in the manner in which you're arguing. It's not. I understand you disagree, that's fine.
You know as well as I do, the board cannot alter Article 11 of our documents without a vote. Article 11 is a 75% vote. Everything in there. Everything.
The other point I was going to make is that the board has wide latitude and discretion in its enforcement powers. Okay? In terms of enforcing something like the no parking rule, it can elect to suspend that for periods of time if it wishes to.
The only time the board can allow parking is through an emergency declaration by the city, county, state, or federal government.
That's maybe your definition, but that's not the definition that controls these Florida cases. You've got the business judgment rule. You're making a business judgment to accommodate the interests of the overwhelming majority of the community for limited periods of time, and doing it in a uniform manner. That's perfectly legitimate. I respect your contrary opinion.
So what you're telling me is they have the ability to alter Section 11.3 just by voting
What I'm saying
themselves.
is they have the ability to suspend its application.
And so you're telling me that they can also alter any other restriction in Section 11 by their own vote.
Not necessarily, because we're talking about common areas here. I just read to you several, I read to you like 2 or 3 different provisions
Just
dealing with the clean area authority of the board to deal with common areas.
title of Article 11 is restrictions.
I understand what it says. I understand what it says. Not all restrictions have to be enforced 100% of the time, 365 days a year.
Doesn't the board have a fiduciary responsibility to enforce all the restrictions in Article 11?
No, it has a fiduciary duty to be faithful to the documents, but also to exercise its common sense as well in its enforcement authority. Mr. Hubble, think of it this way, okay? Not every case think of it this way. Not every case that is a technical violation of the law that's referred to the state attorney gets prosecuted.
So here's my gripe about the whole thing. I'm all for having
parking on our streets during certain times of the year. That needs to be written into our documents. And we don't need permission from them to do it. What needs to happen is, the requirement should be, during these periods of time, you submit the car, the make, the model, and the tag number, so it doesn't get towed. That way, they're not deciding who can and cannot park on the street overnight. Because they'll say, John over here can park on the street. Oh no, Opal, we don't like you. You can't park on the street overnight. They are prejudiced and they target people.
That's a
I'm
lie.
sick of it.
That's a lie.
Bullshit.
Tom, it would be done in a uniform manner for all homeowners. Or no homeowners.
And they would be adopted in written rules and regulations.
I'm all for changing the parking restrictions. Needs to be written and the homeowners themselves approve.
That will happen, because I'm the one who asked, because there's too many homeowners who's doing their roof and they can't find somewhere to park their car.
I agree.
To do that.
I agree.
Okay, so, and also, there's residents who's having like birthday party, graduation stuff. Family come out of town and they don't have nowhere to park. You know, we would develop a system that everyone will be accountable, that when they park, that they don't get told. Okay, the holidays we're trying to exempt, because we're going to have people, families coming over and spend the night. So it's going to be carefully looked into. It's not just going to be any exemption. Not going to be.
The board has had a past history of not involving the community in their decisions, and their complaint was nobody ever shows up, but they do not engage the community.
Okay. Well, the last time we picked 3 people from the audience, sitting right here, and said, come up with an exemption and present it to the board. They did. And we have them.
Yeah, but I didn't get my email till 2 days before you wanted the information. So I didn't do nothing.
I sent it to all of you guys.
I did not get mine 2 days before, just when I had the email sent to me.
How did everybody else do?
I think Crystal was the only one, because after that meeting, after that meeting, I asked you, are you gonna put us in touch with everybody? And you said, yeah.
And I said, yeah, I sent it.
2 days before.
Mr. Ogle, if you look at others in the content, just look at, you can't read the whole paragraph. Others is broad enough to include it.
You never showed it to me.
All right. Anyway,
I'll get to you. There's another hand behind you first.
Go ahead.
Oh, she's not.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, okay, go ahead, Dan.
She does.
Go ahead, Dan.
So just so I can understand in regards to parking, it is the board has the ability on how they want to enforce if somebody's parking on the street.
That's correct.
So then the board can choose to not tow your car, not put stickers that you can't remove, not have $100 fines a day. The board can choose something that is not as invasive of a punishment, like you got a note saying don't park your car there.
Okay, your sticker business is over.
Okay, but the towing business is what concerns me when I have a lot of kids who have health issues, and I may have nurses or doctors or hospice or whatever come.
You get a permission. Okay, all you have to do is request a
But
permission.
in the middle of the night when my kid is dying, I wasn't thinking about permission. So I don't think cars being towed is appropriate. I really don't think that's fair. Because my hospice nurse would have been towed. My daughter-in-law would have been towed and she was in for an emergency. I can't, when my daughter-in-law comes in and she's gushing blood and mom, I have to sew me up. At what point am I supposed to contact somebody to say, oh, by the way, her car's being parked out here until I'm done suturing her and send her on her way? You know what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying.
So how, I don't think towing a car is right. Period. And there's not always a chance in an emergency to notify you.
So what you're saying, you would like to see the cars just leave on the streets all
From
night.
2 to 5 p.m. when the original reason was for street cleaning,
It
it's not.
wasn't.
So now I'm asking you, what are you trying to say to the board then? Do
I
you
think
want the
that-
cars to stay in the street at all times? No kind of
What
guidelines?
is the 3 hours gonna do?
Right, it's the middle of the night. I personally don't I understand the one lady did, and I hear her complaint, but can we do something that's not towing someone's car? That just started happening. That
Hasn't
wasn't
happened
always
yet.
what was done. So if the board has the ability to enforce a rule, I'm just asking you not to tow the cars. That seems very fair, and I don't think that's out of the realm of what can be done.
Is there, I have a question, in the rules, regulations, or whatever, is there anything that states specifically what?
Yes, because we have my son-in-law now has with us, and I have adult children.
Then why not just say, okay, on this particular day, we're gonna enforce it because it's a national.
If you look at the documents that speak to the enforcement provision, which is directly to your question, it's an elective remedy. It's elective.
So they can choose to change the manner in which enforcement is done.
Yes.
So they can decide whether or not to just send a nasty letter, or whether or not they're gonna fine you.
Yes. They can't ignore the restrictions, okay? They can't ignore it entirely. However, they can exercise discretion in how they want to enforce it. Enforce it only certain times, certain periods of the year, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Through certain methods of enforcement. They have a wide degree of discretion in those methods. Yes, ma'am.
So they used to get 3 violation letters before you had to pay a fine, and then all of a sudden it was $100 a day. At first we didn't know what the fine was. I've had to pay a fine with no sticker. And the gentleman, he's not here today, the tall guy, basically accused me of taking the sticker off my car. So it's like, there's no uniformity to that as well. But what made it go from the 3 violations to all?
State law changed.
Okay.
State law changed so that, someone remedies the situation, you can't find anything. So we used to say, well, we'll give you 3 times and then we'll find you.
Right.
You can't find it all now. Somebody moves the car, and the situation is correct. Under the new state law.
Oh, okay.
So you can't do anything that way. That's why we're moving toward towing.
Only the cops can do that. If the car is in its position, the cops can put it there. But once you get rid of that vehicle, you have to go in that area. So the state law, that's the state. So if the city security guy comes up with a green sticker in the car, the next morning you get up and move that car.
So it basically neutered our ability to use fines to enforce the parking restrictions. The board is obligated to try to enforce rules as best it sees fit, using some of these other provisions to modify. And so if we want to be true to some kind of parking restriction, we have to do something. Towing has proven to be effective in other associations. It does not take very long, it does not take very many cars to be towed before people stop parking.
I don't know how many you're from the complex, but I was one of the original homeowners. When I first got here, they were more. A lot of people don't realize that, but I tell you what, after the first 2 cars get towed, towing was over. Everyone finds somewhere to put their car, and it stopped. Okay, so we know it worked. And then I tell you what, on my street, sometimes there's a bend here, and if I'm coming in late at night, I gotta drive and do like this. You know why? Because cars park on both sides, and I don't want to run into any car, my car in the street. So it does, help if we get the cars off the street, especially at night when there's emergency people have to come through. They don't want to be making a lot of noise. They call in the neighborhood, go to their home, and take care of what they have to do without you know. And that's why we try to keep the road clean. Okay? So it's not about, trying to prevent people from, parking and all that kind of stuff.
You had your hand up next, then we'll get the gentleman.
Go ahead.
You had a question.
I just said to be fair,
As soon as we can have, as soon as we can have an exemption in place, then I think that can be enforced. But right now, we don't have one.
So we're talking about all this towing, but no towing.
Right.
So this, we're just wasting time.
We
So,
just wasting time.
okay, so,
I'm sure we can get the exemption.
okay, so all we need to do is find an exemption, that's it.
Yeah, that's a
And
draft.
that requires one, and that's what we're talking about Thanksgiving, Christmas.
Exactly.
I mean, to me, those are the two major holidays, right? Thanksgiving, Christmas. But I mean, where you have a lot of family, okay, so July 4th. So what?
We have to have other things in, mechanisms for people who have special circumstances, like their roof is being done, they need a dumpster.
Right.
So we need to build all that in. We got input from a committee, on that, we put it together in a document, but we can't.
We didn't want to move forward with the exceptions until we had full legal review that it was legal for them.
And when is that
To
legal?
make the, we were just talking
So
about.
this is.
Yes, this was it.
So this was supposed to be it, and then tonight it was decided that that's what.
No, we weren't gonna vote on it tonight.
That we weren't.
Not tonight.
Okay, so we're just talking now, right? So
We were just talking
that.
because we had some pushback on the parking exceptions. We wanted the attorney to review it and review the legalities with everybody, so that everybody's on the same page of why the board is.
So the
going to
next
be doing
meeting,
the
yep,
exceptions. The
everybody's.
next meeting,
Okay.
the exceptions will be approved.
And we
As
have
long
to,
as this goes well.
we have to distribute them, if I remember right, we have to distribute them like 10 days.
Yeah.
So you're gonna, to the next meeting, tell us what you've got,
They're gonna
what
be-
your thoughts and ideas are, and then.
They're gonna be in the rules and regulations that we're working on, it's gonna be part of a larger document.
And we see, all of
And
us,
you will
we
see
see
all
that.
of it,
So
absolutely.
we don't need to talk about it.
I think it's dead. Yeah,
It's
I think
good,
that's-
because
yeah.
at least everyone can hear.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's good, but we're talking
And
about
if somebody
towing and
wants to,
towing
just
stuff.
like
It's not
earlier,
happening right
she discussed about her situation at night.
Right.
You know, and I'm glad you said that, because at least we can.
Of course, right.
And that's what this meeting is about.
Right.
Here.
But we're laboring on.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, this is basically for the attorney.
Yes, ma'am.
And my understanding is with the new law, that you can still get fines, you just have to have a separate committee. No board members are allowed on that.
We've never had board members on the finance committee.
Yeah, you can't have a
So
board
who's on
member.
the fine?
You can never have a board
So
member.
then why can't we?
That's not true. I was fined by Rodney Stocksdale, who was the president of the HOA.
He was also on the finance committee.
He was on the finance committee and on the board.
Right.
Well, you just said that.
But I think that-
I used to sit on the fine committee, once I get on the board, I have to.
Right.
Because that's a state law, you can't do that.
Yeah, you can't be on both.
I think Ron and I on the finance committee after he
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, no, you can't serve on both.
So
You can't serve on both. The reason for that is the board is like the prosecutor and the fines committee is like the judge. So you want separation between the prosecuting
Okay,
person.
I understand that part. What I don't understand is why they changed from fines to towing. If we have a fines committee.
There's no
If
towing,
we
I
have a
just heard.
fines committee,
I just heard
who's
there's no
on
towing.
that fines committee?
I just heard there's no towing.
Well,
Not yet.
but the nuance, man, is that
Fines committee-
the new
fines
state
committee-
law,
The fines committee can no longer fine because new legislation that was passed in July states that anyone in violation that receives a fining letter, if they cure that violation before the fining hearing, they cannot be fined. So basically what we would be doing is sending out these letters to homeowners that are parked overnight, their car is removed right away, they come to the fines meeting, is your car moved? Okay, we can't do anything with you. And that would just repeat and repeat and repeat, so.
So
we can't
my
find that.
understanding is that you could do the fines,
No,
but wait,
Well,
let me finish.
okay.
You could do the fines if you wanted to. But you're saying that it would take too long.
No,
No.
no. We
So
cannot-
that's why you're
No.
not doing the fines.
No, we cannot do the fines, period. If somebody is parked overnight and they move their car, which is what happens every morning, you move your car out of that spot, we cannot fine them after that car has been moved. And we have to send a 14-day notice to the homeowner prior to the fining hearing. within that 14 days, if they move their car before the hearing, they are no longer in violation and we cannot fine them. That's it.
Well, they should be informed that they were breaking it, but.
Listen, I'll tell you this, when homeowners send me violations like sometimes I have homeowners coming in the middle of the night and will show me overnight parkers, I'll send violations. That's as far as you can go with it though, I mean, I'll send a notice.
There's no consequence.
There's really no consequence to it. So that's why we were fining. Now, we can't fine.
Who was wrong with fine?
It was Ann and, Bill.
So we don't have a fining committee right now.
They're not here, no, we have a fining committee.
Okay, who is it?
It's Rodney, Ann, and Bill. Rodney Stodsdill, Ann Dotz. Ann, are you here? Here you are. And, Bill, but he's not here. Bill was it. So that was the issue. Obviously, fining was the more attractive.
Okay, I'm gonna research that one a little bit more.
It's state statute.
That wasn't my understanding.
Yeah, it's state statute. It was just passed in July. It was a big one.
I know, I went to a class on it, but passed in July. That was not my understanding.
He had his hand up early, but then he deferred. Go ahead, sir.
Are there visitors pass available? Yes or no? Visitors pass.
That's what we're working on right now.
Visitors pass?
Yeah, visitors pass so that they can park as an exception overnight.
So there's none available now?
We haven't started the process. There's also no towing right now. So, yeah. We're not doing one without the other.
Go ahead.
Go
ahead.
In the last meeting, they were trying to figure out if we would be responsible as HOA for the damage done to certain vehicles that they compatible with the towing company that we figured that out. If they towed, they were trying to figure out if they once they start towing between the hours or whatever, if their vehicle is towed between those hours, are we going to be responsible? Let's say they damage that person.
Yeah,
that was a question.
Yes, and I did follow up on it for everybody. Unfortunately, tow companies do not identify. You never see that word. Identify. They don't put an identifying clause in the contract. I tried. They will not be held responsible for anything. Even if I park with like I come in supposed to be in the home.
So that's what the HOA is responsible for. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
You're gonna get enmeshed in litigation anyway, one way or the other. So you're gonna have costs there. So that's why I discouraged it.
You park at your own risk.
I have a question about board membership. So the original bylaw said that there are 3 directors, and then the board passed an amendment at some point in the past, but I saw there was a document recently. Said the 2 additional, so extended from 3 to 5. Those 2 are appointed. The additional 2 are always appointed. And
the reason for that is that in 2013, when the bylaws were amended to provide for the expansion from 3 to 5, at the same time, there was a companion provision in the articles that was sought to be passed to provide for all 5 of those people to be elected. That did not achieve the necessary supermajority. Bylaws only required a majority of a quorum, which was a majority of 30% people showing up at a meeting, and the articles is, I believe, 75% of everybody.
yeah, so that was my question: is why does that make them only elected? Why does that require? At what part of the documents need to be changed?
The DCCRs.
What section?
What part needs to be changed in order to get them all elected?
Yes.
Okay. The articles.
Where? Like I looked, I couldn't find.
Yeah.
There are there's 5 directors total, but only 3 are always elected.
Maybe there too.
No, I understand.
Alright, it's article Roman numeral 8.
Okay, can I just take a?
It's this provision here. At each annual meeting thereafter, members shall elect 3 directors. So we try to get that proposed 5 there.
So that's what I didn't see. Wait a second. What is this? This is in the DCCRs?
No, it's the article of the corporation.
I think there's something in DCCRs too.
Oh, does this, so these articles also need 51%, or sorry,
No,
75%?
75%, yeah. 75%.
So that's in the bylaws, right?
These are the bylaws I'm flipping through now. This here is the article. Bylaws start here, I believe. Yeah, bylaws. These are the articles. The articles provide for.
Was it back there? There was something.
I think it's okay. No, maybe you're right.
I saw something that said amendments.
Here it is. I was redirected to the highlighted. 75%.
Okay. So this is the article. And so what does that?
Sorry? If it's going to be an issue, you can especially the highway graduate. So basically,
And we covered it earlier as well.
Should we wear it in the documents? Make it bigger. I just couldn't find that on page.
Don't become the bylaws. I don't see the article.
They're not available to me. No, I don't have any way to get those documents. No, that's required, right?
Alright, we have, one more item on the, agenda here.
to speak to the president or vice president.
And that was, legal issue coming from the sign.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, there's a question I believe Mr. Ugly raised with respect to signage there. There's something that says.
Not just me, but any motorcycle.
Right, but I believe you're the one that raised the question. I mean, that's not one of the things, but just recited what I was led to believe. That you raised a question about. The answer to that is that signage came that way from the manufacturer. That is not a rule. It's not a regulation. It's nowhere in the declaration or the articles. fact, the declaration specifically provides for motorcycles to be on premises, to traverse within the community, entry and exit, because it indicates that they have to be parked in the garage when they're on site. So it acknowledges implicitly that motorcycles are permitted in the community.
Okay. Let me respond.
Please, go ahead.
When the HOA installed the spike strips, they created a hazardous and unsafe environment for motorcycles to exit the community. The HOA installed a sign facing the exit gates that states no motorcycles, effectively creating a public rule at the exit gate. I requested an alternate route to exit the community on my motorcycles and was told via email, you are allowed to leave the community with your motorcycle. However, there are spikes there and the sign must remain to release the HOA from liability should any damage occur to your motorcycle. The HOA contends that if I break the rule, I'm at fault and they are not liable even if they are negligent. Scenario, I go out on my motorcycle, maybe it's nighttime. Some of the spike strips are stuck up for some reason. Maybe due to rocks or maybe negligence of the HOA. Or maybe there is oil and grease on the spike plate due to the HOA not maintaining the streets to prevent oil and grease buildup where vehicles tend to slow down or stop. I end up on the ground with injuries and damage to my motorcycle. Will the HOA claim they are not at fault because I violated their no exit rule for motorcycles?
No, you'd have a claim for negligence there.
But
The declaration,
they're telling me they have to leave that language because of liability reasons.
Liability for the company.
What company?
The company that made the spike strips.
How are they liable? They don't own them anymore.
That's their condition.
Once they sold them to
that's their story.
Once they sold them to the HOA, they belong to the HOA. You don't have a warranty on those anymore. They're yours. They're the HOA.
They can be sued for damages.
So can the HOA.
Correct.
So maybe you should take out the spike strips.
We put a gap in there, by the way. You can drive a motorcycle through that.
Right. But what I don't want to have happen is if there's an accident and the HOA was negligent, that your attorney comes back to me and says, see that sign? You violated that. Not allowed to leave the on your motorcycle.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah, you've got the superior document declaration that acknowledges that motorcycles can be in the community. That's going to control. There's a hierarchy. You know the hierarchy. The declaration, first the articles, and the bylaws.
Explain to me why the language cannot be removed from the inside facing of the sign. And the spike company being liable, that's not justification.
How's it gonna change anything?
Can the lawyer answer the question? You don't have to answer every question. The lawyer doesn't answer any question.
It can be removed. Yes, that part of the sign can be obscured or removed.
There you go.
It can be.
That's my request. Because to me, you're violating my rights as a motorcyclist, and you tell me I cannot leave the community through that gate, and you provide no alternate route for me to leave.
I think we understand your position.
So in the past, you guys have told me, we refuse to change that sign just because it's you, Mr. Owen.
No.
Well, Don Dill has said that, but maybe not you.
I don't think I haven't heard Don say that.
You never did have a little time.
He only told you to act like you did.
So we're saying.
Warren, would you be willing to make a motion to remove the language on the interior facing?
Sure, I don't have a problem with that. Make a motion that we remove that language from the sign. Needs to be seconded.
Yeah, I'll second.
I second it, because that's something where you. Gary.
I seconded it already. So the motion is to remove or to obscure the language on the sign and exit to the says no motorcycle.
I think.
And so Warren made a motion, I seconded it. Go ahead.
attorney said, okay, so.
We need to vote.
Make a motion, huh? Yeah, motion to,
I made a motion, you seconded it, we need to vote.
I'm calling for a vote.
Alright, and all in favor?
Okay, there we go.
Aye.
Aye.
So now we have three.
No, we have four.
I'm your next door neighbor. I was in town for Westyn Bay. I've been there 30 years, and Westyn Bay is our master subdivision. And I've learned a lot from board members, and also a management. And I'm a board member there. I'm really sad to see what's happening. I'm from the Western region. I grew up here in New York. And I know quite a number of people here. And it's my hope that whatever is going on here can be remedied, and everyone can get past this so life can go on. There's so much more important just about her. And as a board member, when it comes to Westyn Bay, I get a lot of hate. I have a police serving my house. I have a board member whose boyfriend broke the gate in his driveway and asked for taxes to pay why you need to do that. I cannot come out of my house as I would like to. I use my back door instead of my house. And that's all because he can park on, and it's a neighbor, and so I always say I'm a neighbor and then board member second. And he can park his vehicle on, which messes up the sprinkler, landscaping for the next night. And I sent him. I have known retyping those words. I practiced it last day from. I would not do that. I get F U H on my camera. He has a motorcycle. He revs in front of my house. Revs it. If I walk out Tuesday afternoon, we're trying to get rid of all the vendors. As soon as I come out of my house, I'm ducking between cars. As soon as he sees me, he comes up with a motorcycle. He revs it up to me. So now I have a police lieutenant, probably what's in sergeant. So instead of us concentrating on hurricane on Tuesday night, it will be hours in the morning. I was in the phone and they were walking around. So I just want everyone to be mindful. Being a board member is not easy. I have a full-time job, but I chose to be on the board with them. And for most, people are happy with what they see, the way we spend the money, the way things are done. I'm fortunate that I work from home, so I have flexibility. My job has been called. I've been here 26 years. My job has been called several times. My boss is busy. They ask if I work there still because they see me walking around. What they don't see is when I'm working 2 or 3 times. It's a lot. You guys can say that as board members. It's a lot of work it takes to get it done. And for us, we have 117 units. Some of it are rented. We have some really good people who look out, and then we have selected. It's become like my 2 neighbors that I've known for 13 years. I have to like knock on the wall. After these clients. This never used to happen. I constantly get my name known out here. They have an anti-Juliet group. They have an anti-Juliet. And it's so sad that law enforcement has so much more to do than to be doing what they have to do now. So I just ask everyone, whatever the bitterness is, whatever, work together, work in your community, and make it work because you live here, and whatever the hiccups are, talk to each other, today I listened to a podcast, and it was from First Residential, he was saying about, if you see a neighbor doing something, and I laughed. by then I had gotten like 11 texts. Hey, and don't tell me you don't see it, it's right across the street, they shouldn't be doing that. So I did the right thing, I messaged the neighbor. But just like everyone, just be a little more cautious, because people, when you call names and everything, people lose their lives. They can, my life has changed, I have parents all over, I'm thinking about what else do I do now? Because of not being able to run my house.
But in all seriousness, I think it's great that you're doing what you're doing. But we're also at the point where if your life is being altered that much, that's when you just step away. Because what's the value of that at that point? And I'm being serious. Like, if I'm being stressed out, like if my job is stressing me out less than my community
Well,
is,
let me just back up. This was not, this happened also because I was on the board and I resigned after I decided I was not going to sign the contract. Protects the vendor and us and the board members. I did not, I stepped down. You have an attorney, your attorney said, you not sign this contract, my life is hard, my life is chair. I resigned from the board last year. And it's just a handful of people. And I've had one or two release themselves from that group because once they hear like what's going on, and so because I've had reports like I'm reporting people's children. I have a 2.5-month-old grandbaby. I have children. I have 3 coders. I'm not a coder person. My kids send me coders. And this is my workplace phone, so I don't do that. So I was accused of that. I have someone who lives in a subdivision right now. I don't know what's going to happen. It's compliance with Health Central. I had an accident and when I showed up there, she came and she was calling my name. I didn't know who was calling my name. And when I just turned my head, you don't know me, you don't know. She was laughing. I said, oh, what's going on? And then she finally recognized, she's telling your neighbor, and she was laughing and she walked up. She's not supposed, you guys know him a lot, she's not supposed to be there. She's not supposed, but she came in there to laugh at me that I had an accident. She thought I was dying or something like that. So that's the extent that people would go because they listen to false claims.
no, and I understand false claims, all these things, but my sanity is not worth that.
You know what? My faith is strong, and now, like I said, I have police involved.
But even all that, you're still here speaking about, which is great.
No, I'm just letting you guys know because I see the animosity here and what's going on, and I know that everything is not going right here, but there has to be some way to resolve it because everybody still lives in here unless you're back.
The problem a lot of us have basically is change as far as you understand a board doesn't hold around. They put a lot of commitment, okay? But you have to have change within that board to have differences change. You got the same people on there the whole time dictating everything for years and years. You only have their thoughts, their process, their ideas. No other ideas get put on board. People get removed from their positions because they don't think the same as them. And that's what happened. And that's why people are upset. I'm sure every one of them do a great job. They have done a great job.
I was there was a vote, they were voting over not to remove me as the president of the board, and they decided if I get on one side, I have to go. And I said, I will not resign because if I'm president, if I get elected, I will not sign up. And you're in charge of that. So, yeah.
I essentially say, like, we've had basically where we try to get other people on the board and we don't have a quorum. So the board picks who they want on the board. They appoint their own friends and people on the board. And you have other people wanting to be on the board. They won't let them.
Okay, we want to wrap this up. We only have one item left on the agenda, and that was for tree removal bids.
There was also the legal review of the election results.
Yeah, we touched on that.
Huh?
We touched on that earlier, and then we touched on it
Well,
just a
I
few
mean,
minutes.
he's very busy for that too, because
I'd be happy to touch on it again, but yeah.
Okay, I want to touch on it. The election was flawed. Ken Bear ran for office when his term had not expired. Ken should have been fully aware he had another year left on his term. The HOA's board should have also known that Ken had another year left on his term. The Leland Management Company Community manager, Nancy, should have also known Ken had another year. Wait a minute, I'm not done.
So my name's Natalie.
Had another, oh, I'm sorry.
Tom.
Ken had another year left on his term. Several checks and balances failed. And Ken ran for office and took votes away from other people that were running. That should have then triggered another meeting and another election process. Now, the problem we have as homeowners is we didn't file a dispute with the Department of Professional Regulation within 60 days to dispute that. So now we can no longer dispute that with the department. That doesn't mean the HOA doesn't have a responsibility to fix that problem.
There's nothing to fix.
Yes, there is.
There was
Somebody else answer the
28
question?
Tom, you got 28 votes.
And you got less than him.
Ken
Yeah,
got
no votes.
I had 54 votes. 28 votes for you, 25 for Ken. Even if all of Ken's votes went to you, that's 53, not 54. You wouldn't have been elected even if you got all of those votes in. So it doesn't make any difference.
Does make a difference.
You would have gotten elected if Don didn't sit right over there and push you to get back on the board.
Correct.
When we wanted to have.
Votes are votes.
And you weren't voted on. I don't understand.
Exactly, by the board. The board puts you on.
Appointments are different than votes.
We followed the election results. I came in 5th with 54 votes. And I was appointed.
How many of those votes were proxies?
I don't know. Doesn't matter. Proxy's a vote.
It does matter because the secretary, doesn't the secretary get to choose if there is no mark on that ballot?
The ballot was unassigned, it goes to the secretary.
It should have been redone because it wasn't accurate. That's what it goes down to.
Well, on what basis do you say that, man?
The proxy.
Because Ken wasn't supposed to be on there.
Proxy should be rewritten to say that the secretary will distribute the votes evenly among all candidates, and any votes left over.
What's the point in that, Tom?
Because it's a more fair process.
No. All you're doing is taking those votes away because everybody gets the same amount. You're just taking those votes out of the system. So proxies are no good. That's all you're trying to do is negate proxies.
Not the proxies, no, the proxies that say they didn't elect someone, just that it's the secretary check.
But that's
the homeowner's wish. That's the homeowner's wish.
when he signs it, he says that's what he wants.
But not all proxies, that's just the ones that say, let the secretary check.
Those are, homeowners that are naive and doesn't understand the process. And then get taken advantage of.
They should go to the election.
They get taken advantage of because if they're not able to go to the meeting and someone says, hey, give me your proxy vote, which is not marked on who and what, then that person, the secretary, whoever can mark whoever they want to mark down, and there you go.
I went out and I pounded the pavement, I got 14 proxies, and I explained to those homeowners why I was getting those proxies, and I didn't say who I was gonna vote for. I said I wanted to hear them, their stance when they got up in front of us before I could even vote. So they did not check, say, let the secretary vote, they said, I trust you to vote.
So you voted for those 14 people, and they don't.
I voted 15 times, because I went out and beat the pavement, but if you don't care enough to be at the doggone election, you cannot complain.
The problem is a lot of people don't go, so when you do go,
The problem is a lot of people don't go, but they're here tonight.
Never a forum.
So I do have a question. While we're on this conversation, what are the term limits right now? Ken is, after this year in May, he's done, or he gets to be reelected, right? That's one person. Gary, he only has 1 year as well, right?
And me.
And you. So at this point, come May, everyone just needs to show up. We don't want them on the board, and we just get them on the board. Let them stay on till May, have a nice little whatever, and then we just go from there.
There you go.
They don't show up, just suck it up.
Here's the problem. The apathy is in the neighborhood is just like the rest of the country. People will get that proxy. They don't really know anybody, or they don't want to bother to get somebody else and name them on the proxy to vote their vote. So they just check the secretary off, and that's what keeps these guys in office year after year after year.
But like I said, when you go, explain to them that you're gonna listen to them, they'll tell you, I'll let you vote for me, not the secretary. You sign your name down. Tom, I don't think you were even on the proxy.
Who is the secretary?
You weren't even on the proxy.
Who resigned?
Well, there's nobody on the proxy. It was just allow the secretary to vote your vote, or write in somebody to vote your vote?
The current secretary is Gary Johnson. Yeah.
So if we review the video, when you guys review his video, if the gentleman that, and I don't know everyone's name, if Ken did in fact say he was following his wife and he's resigning, then would Tom be in the next vote getter take his place?
No, that's not how it works. Number one, I've got to check to see if the not-for-profit corporations law requires a written resignation.
You already read that though. You
No,
already said
no,
he was
no,
the
no,
board
no, no.
member or
I read, no, sir. Nancy, I read the articles and I read the bylaws. The not-for-profit corporations laws in chapter 617. I didn't bring the entire chapter 617. I didn't know this was going to be an issue. I didn't anticipate someone resigning in the middle of the meeting. Sorry, but I did. So I need to check that for you, and I will give you an answer, and I'll give you a reference so you can double check. But even if he did resign, and if he resigned properly and lawfully under chapter 617, then the board, according to the documents, gets to appoint a replacement.
Based on what was done before, wouldn't that be the next highest vote getter,
Yes.
which would be Tom?
Well, I don't know.
We have it on
What-
video too.
I don't know what was there a policy or anything?
Yeah, there was.
They said that last time.
They said, what we said was, as a policy, whenever we have an annual meeting, we will follow for the appointed directors, we will follow the results of the election.
So that doesn't control in the event where someone resigns midterm.
So what are you saying? Are you saying then that we would not follow that and then the board could pick whoever they want? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying
Did he resign?
first of all, we got to determine whether or not he resigned. But if he did resign, then the board gets to elect him. Who they want to appoint to that position.
Yeah, we asked him. Said no.
Why would it not be the next highest vote like what we've done before?
Because I misunderstood Greg to say that was a decision that was applicable to the annual election. That was not something that deemed to cover midterm elections.
Yeah, we didn't cover that.
Midterm resignation.
Who's the secretary?
Gary Johnson.
Okay. I wanna know how come Natalie's taking notes. I thought the secretary was supposed to.
Gary hasn't been here for the past 2 meetings.
It doesn't matter. The secretary is supposed to be taking notes. By our bylaws.
The secretary can appoint the management agent to serve in that role. And that's typically, I mean, if we go to just about any HOA meeting, or if there's a bunch of HOAs, it's always the property manager.
Well,
But you're right, it does say that.
they have until May. We're gonna do attorney, new property management.
Okay, so we need to wrap up